The 1965 Gold Cup was perhaps the last great contest of the so-called golden age of unlimited hydroplane racing. 1965 was a banner year for the Thunderboats. One of the finest fleets of competitors ever to gather joined the lineup. In Seattle for the Gold Cup were two-time defending champion Ron Musson driving the Green Dragon, Miss Bardol. Rex Manchester piloted the sensational Notre Dame. Chuck Thompson was in the cockpit of Harrah's Tahoe Miss, while the lightning-fast Miss Exide was skippered by Bill Brow. Among the supporting cast members were Wild Bill Cantrell driving Miss Smirnoff, Buddy Byers in Miss Madison, and the four-seater Miss Budweiser driven by Chuck Hickling. In all, 15 Unlimiteds posted successful qualifying speeds, punctuated by the sizzling three-lap Gold Cup three-mile course qualifying record of 120.356 miles an hour set by Bill Brow aboard the Miss Exide. The stage was set for a fast-paced Gold Cup featuring one of the most evenly matched fleets ever to do battle for the Golden Goblet. The racing teams took qualifying seriously, but there was plenty of time for fans to meet their favorite racing personalities. There's Rex Manchester talking it over with Miss Budweiser owner Bernie Little. Fans in the pit area infield got a treat as Manchester and Save Air's Probe driver Red Loomis, joined by Bernie Little, toss out a few coveted souvenir buttons. Eager Seattle fans favor the Shamrock logo of the Notre Dame racing team. Speaking of the Dame, here's owner Shirley Mendelson McDonald making her way to the Notre Dame pit area, chauffeured by Evelyn Manchester. Her dad is Ole Bardol. Shirley checks out race preparations with members of the crew. Her Notre Dame has never won the Gold Cup. This may be her best chance ever to equal the success of her famous father, Herb Mendelson, whose Notre Dame was the winner of the Chalice in 1937. Here's Wild Bill Cantrell visiting with Rex Manchester as King TV sportscaster Rod Belcher looks on. Cantrell won the Cup in 1949. The crew of the Shamrock Lady prepares one of her many pristine 3,000 horsepower Rolls-Royce Merlin engines for a pre-Gold Cup test run on Lake Washington. Driver Rex Manchester is a veteran of unlimited racing. His first ride was Miss Spokane in 1960, but after a half-dozen years, he hasn't tasted victory yet. The Notre Dame driver talks over testing plans as his crew launches their favorite Charger. The Dame's engine roars to life as Manchester heads his hydroplane toward the course. Exiting the north turn, Notre Dame accelerates on the front chute, approaching 165 miles an hour. Manchester returns to the pits, where the Notre Dame crew waits to debrief their driver. Rex Manchester talks things over with crewman Jim Kurth, who checks the gauges and reviews the test run. The Notre Dame team brings a lot of confidence into this Gold Cup. Their boat is running well, leading in the national point standings, and Rex Manchester is overdue for a major win. The crew secures the sling, and the 30-foot hydro is gently lifted from the water and returned to her trailer. Notice the uniformed officers working on the Notre Dame. Shirley McDonald hired special security for her boat. Rather than stand around, the guards are lending a hand. The Stansairs pits are a busy place as crews ready their boats for Gold Cup action. Notre Dame made frequent trips to the course as a full inventory of equipment was tested thoroughly for what's expected to be a grueling race of speed and endurance. Sometimes the boat comes back with evidence of a problem. An oil leak defaces the crisp white and blue paint scheme, a sure sign that at least one engine isn't ready for the race. Carefully, the Notre Dame crew grooms their boat for the task ahead, aided by their security guards as time ticks down to the first Gold Cup heat. Sunday, August 8th, 1965, race day in Seattle. Officials are standing by for the first heat, and in the pits, the crowd senses an exciting day. Heat 1A finds Warner Gardner on the outside, leading the field across the line in Mariner 2. Gardner holds the lead into the south turn, while Miss Exide and Tahoe Miss battle for second. Miss Madison and Miss US 5 tangle for fourth and fifth. On lap 2, Bill Brow has assumed the lead, with Chuck Thompson in pursuit. The Tahoe Miss takes a vicious dive coming out of the south turn, yielding several boat lengths to the Exide on the back chute. On lap 3, Bill Brow has stretched his lead over the rough-riding Tahoe Miss. Chuck Thompson wrestles his boat in the turn. The Miss Exide continues to hold a commanding lead. In the final lap, Tahoe Miss fades into a distant second. Miss Madison grabs third, followed by Roy Doobie in Miss US 5 and young Jerry Shamuth driving Gales Roostertail. The Mariner 2 failed to finish. At an average 112.172 miles an hour, Bill Brow sets the pace for the 1965 Gold Cup, winning Heat 1A. As the action of Heat 1A unfolds, back in the pits, crewman Jim Kurth directs the installation of Notre Dame's race engine for Heat 1B. Rex Manchester takes to the course early to test out systems before lining up for the start. And here they come. At the start of Heat 1B, Norm Evans screams into the lead, driving the Miss Lapeer, formerly Miss Spokane and Miss Eagle Electric. It's Miss Bardall, hidden in the spray on the outside, in second place. Notre Dame trails in third position through the south turn, but Rex Manchester is reeling in the Lapeer. Bill Cantrell has nailed down fourth in the Miss Smirnoff here on lap number 2, with Saber's Miss trailing the field. Ron Musson has a commanding lead in lap 3, and Rex Manchester appears to be content not to challenge further. Norm Evans is still trying to reel in the Notre Dame, though, but the Lapeer doesn't have the horsepower to catch the Shamrock Lady, and Notre Dame extends her lead over Miss Lapeer on the back chute. On lap 4, it's Miss Bardall by a huge margin, well ahead of the second place Notre Dame. Rex Manchester has repelled the challenge by Miss Lapeer and continues solidly in second place. The Notre Dame is running well, and Manchester will conserve the equipment for later on in the day when it really counts. Look out! Red Loomis is fortunate to stay aboard the Such Crust after that wild ride. Nobody can remember that big twin running stronger. With a 1,000-foot lead over Notre Dame, Miss Bardall claims the checkered flag. Bill Cantrell overtook Norm Evans to grab third. The Miss Lapeer was fourth, while Walt Cade held off Red Loomis, placing fifth in Saber's Mist. The Such Crust was sixth. Miss Bardall's winning average, 108.651 miles an hour for the heat. Heat 2A features Miss Exide, Notre Dame, Miss Lapeer, Miss US 5, Gales Roostertail, and Such Crust 4. In the pits, the Notre Dame crew readies their boat for a duel with the red-hot Exide. Rex Manchester's timing is not ideal at the start. Miss Exide, belching black exhaust as Bill Brow jams the nitrous oxide button, rockets into the first turn out front. The Exide takes some bone-crushing bounces entering the corner. Manchester isn't about to let the Exide escape and keeps his foot in it as Notre Dame starts to catch up. Something's wrong with the Exide. Exide's slowing down. Here comes the Notre Dame on the outside to pass. Perhaps it was that bad hop at the start that stressed the Miss Exide mechanically, but at the end of lap 1, it's Notre Dame all alone with a commanding lead. Rex Manchester throttles the boat through the south turn without a challenger in sight. Miss Exide is still running, but Bill Brow can't coax any speed out of his boat. Here comes Such Crust 4 to overtake the stricken Exide. Red Loomis wasn't expected to beat Miss Exide in this Gold Cup, but now he has. Heat 2A has turned into a parade. Notre Dame is without pursuit and pulls away. Bill Brow has cleaned out the Exide's engine, but it's too late. The distance is insurmountable. Rex Manchester leads by a country mile. Manchester guides the Notre Dame through the south turn after taking the checkered flag. The Dame is performing beautifully. Rex Manchester is permitting the race to come to him. Red Loomis scores a second place finish with the heavy Such Crust, while Roy Doobie drives a damaged Miss US 5 to third. The standings show that Heat 2A was not one of the Miss Exide's best. Bill Brow kept her going, but had to settle for fourth. As the Notre Dame team checks out their winning entry, officials are abuzz about an incident before the start of Heat 2A. The Miss Lapeer has substantial right side damage. It happened in a collision with Miss US 5. It's the start of Heat 2B, and Chuck Thompson blasts the Tahoe Miss into the lead from the inside lane. Miss Bardall is just outside the Tahoe in second, while Bill Cantrell and Miss Smirnoff battles Walt Caden, Saybears Mist, and Warner Gardner and Mariner 2 for third in the south turn. Up the backstretch, Gardner passes Cade and sets his sights on the Smirnoff. In the south turn, one lap later, it's Warner Gardner stealing the inside and dueling with Cantrell. Meanwhile, on lap 3, Bardall continues to pursue the Tahoe Miss. Ron Musson jockeys through the lower corner, maintaining a solid second place. Chuck Thompson holds off the Bardall up the back chute. The battle continues between Mariner 2 and Miss Smirnoff. It's lap 4, and Tahoe Miss is slowing down on the back chute. Chuck Thompson is in trouble. That experimental turbocharger is not making the horsepower. With a burst of speed, Ron Musson closes in for the kill. Down the front straightaway, Miss Bardall has taken over first place. Tahoe Miss has found some new speed, and Chuck Thompson is giving chase. Well, Tahoe Miss never caught the Bardall, and in the end, the Green Dragon prevailed, with the Tahoe Miss second, followed by Miss Madison, Mariner 2, and Smirnoff. Saybears Mist failed to finish. They're off and running for the start of Heat 3A. Bill Cantrell has grabbed the inside, and Miss Smirnoff leads the Miss Madison, Notre Dame, and Miss US 5 down into the first turn. Off the exit pin, all four boats are closely bunched as Smirnoff leads them up the backstretch. Notre Dame challenges Smirnoff entering the north turn. On the front straightaway, Rex Manchester blasts past Bill Cantrell, unleashing the Notre Dame's incredible speed, and leads the Vodka Hydro into turn 1 on lap 3. Miss Smirnoff keeps the pressure on. Up the back chute, Bill Cantrell refuses to let the Shamrock Lady escape, but there's trouble ahead for the Smirnoff. As Notre Dame continues to lead, Buddy Byers has throttled the Miss Madison into second place, overtaking the Smirnoff, and even the Miss US 5 is threatening. Notre Dame will not be denied. Rex Manchester races across the finish line with a comfortable lead over the second place Miss Madison. The Notre Dame scored another Heat victory and now heads into the Gold Cup final with 1,100 cumulative points. Even Such Crust 4 overtook the early Heat leader Miss Smirnoff by the time the checkered flag dropped in Heat 3A. Heat 3B finds Bill Brow charging across the line in lane 1 aboard the Miss Exide. On his hip is the Miss Bardall and Gales Roostertail. As the Roostertail fades, the Exide and Bardall hook up in a close south turn skirmish. A lap later, the battle appears just as close, but the officials rule the Exide was the only legal starter. Everybody else jumped the gun. Here's Jerry Shaineth in Roostertail brawling with Tahoe Miss. Up the back chute, the battle wages forward, but as for the winner of this one, well, it's Exide in 5 laps. Everyone else had to run 6. And here's a look at the final order of finish for Heat 3B. It's the calm before the storm as the Notre Dame team waits for the final 5-minute gun. And Miss Exide is lowered into the water for that big showdown. Rex Manchester gathers his driving gear, wondering if this time, at long last, Lady Luck will grant him his first unlimited hydroplane victory. Jim Kurth and the Notre Dame crew know their boat will be competitive, but will it be fast enough to win? Notre Dame warms up. Miss Bardall, Exide, Tahoe Miss, US 5, and Madison prepare to meet her in the final heat. And here they come. Down the front chute on the starting charge, it's Bill Brow throttling the Miss Exide into the lead. It's Notre Dame and Bardall in close pursuit. Tahoe Miss is fourth through the corner, trailed by Miss Madison and Miss US 5. At the end of lap 1, Notre Dame leads Bardal across the line and into the south turn with a blast of speed. But where's the Exide? Through the corner, Notre Dame commands the race as Ron Musson muscles the Bardal in pursuit. But where's Bill Brow? Flares have begun to show on the racecourse. Somebody's in trouble. It's the Miss Exide. She's on fire in the infield. The rescue helicopter is swooping in, but the Exide appears to be fully engulfed in flames. The Exide fire put a stop to the 1965 Gold Cup final. The boats returned to the pits to refuel for a restart. But the day is over for the blackened Miss Exide. Leading when the final heat was stopped, the question now is, can Notre Dame grab the lead again? The final heat restart is underway. Ron Musson has wrestled the inside lane away from Rex Manchester, and the Bardal leads the pack into the first turn. Up the back chute, Rex Manchester tries valiantly to catch the Green Dragon, but Miss Bardal is pulling away. On the front straightaway on lap 2, still it's Miss Bardal in front, but Notre Dame hasn't given up. As they enter the south turn, Rex Manchester keeps the throttle open and desperately tries to pull even with the Bardal. On lap 3, the Bardal's lead is by no means secure. Ron Musson slams the Green Dragon into the south turn, but his lead is only a couple of boat lengths. Keeping the leaders in his sights, Chuck Thompson holds down third. On lap 4, Ron Musson has shut the door on Rex Manchester. The Notre Dame cannot catch Miss Bardal and trails now by several seconds. On the 5th lap, the die is cast. Ron Musson appears on his way to a third straight Gold Cup win for owner Ole Bardal. Rex Manchester's hopes for his first career win appear to have been frustrated again. The Tahoe Miss has been steady in third place in this final rerun, unable to dice with the front runners, but fast enough to hold off Roy Doobie and Miss US 5. A jubilant Ron Musson gives a victory wave. A stoic Rex Manchester wonders what it takes to win. Notre Dame is a bridesmaid once more. And here's the final order of finish for the 1965 Gold Cup in Seattle. Governor Dan Evans presents the Gold Cup to Ole Bardal and his driver, Ron Musson. And the rest of the racing fleet, including the hard-luck Notre Dame, packs up and waits for another Gold Cup challenge.